Hello and welcome to task 53. We are going to build on the screwdriver tip holder that we were working on in task 52, and we're going to finish it off in task 53. So let's go ahead and open task 52. If you haven't already, find your task 52. We are going to start with an extrusion. So we'll use the extrude tool, and we're going to add a little bit to the bottom face of this object. So if I can click on the bottom plane there, I've clicked on the face of extrude 1. I'm going to add a depth of 0.05 here. It's not very tall. And we are again going to use a draft. In this case, 3 degrees, and we do want it to kind of get a little wider as it's going down, and I think that's exactly what it's doing. We don't need to change the direction in this case. So if you have a solid add menus highlighted here, and your 0.05 in your depth, a draft of 3 degrees, you're ready to accept your extrusion. Let's take a look at how our object looks. We just added a little bit to the base. I think that makes it a little bit more stable. We are next going to start a new sketch on the top of our figure. So here's my sketch tool. I'm going to click on the top, and I'm going to look at it from above. I want to add a circle at the origin now. I'm going to use this circle to be, this is ultimately going to become a hole where you would store the handle of your screwdriver. So the diameter of our hole is going to be 1/4 of an inch, or 0.25 inches. We are going to finish our sketch at that point. Well, I like to have the measurements outside of the figure. Okay, let's accept our sketch. Let's go back to our isometric view. We are going to do another extrusion. This time is going to be a remove. We are going to make that hole that we were just mentioning. So we'll click on this little circle that we just created, and it's going to go down a depth of 1.25 inches. And we want to have a draft again of 2 degrees, not 3. We do want to make sure, let me look at it from the top, that we are tapering in. Yes, see, if I change the direction, you can kind of see the little circle that forms, which is at the bottom of the hole. Things are a little bit more narrow, so you can see, yeah, there's an extra little circle in there. So you want to make sure that your arrow is pointing to the opposite direction there. So we have our depth, we have our 2 degrees, we changed our direction. I think we're ready to accept our extrusion. That is the hole where the screwdriver handle would go. And now we are going to start another sketch to make some holes for the screwdriver tips. So a new sketch right on the face right here, the face of extrude 3. We're going to start with a very small circle here on the y-axis. The diameter should be 0.125, and we're going to position it with the dimension tool so that the center of this small circle and the center of the larger circle are going to be 0.3 inches away from one another. Now we're going to make a pattern so that we're ultimately going to have 5 circles all around this screw tip base so that we can store multiple tips. So as you may have guessed, we're going to need our circular pattern tool. Yours might be buried in the menu here. You might see a linear pattern. You might have to drop down to find the circular pattern. Or if you're lucky, your circular pattern is right there. We're going to select it. And then we're going to select the circle that we want to pattern. We want to have 5 of them. So I'm trying to double click on that 3. I'll make it a 5. And you can see we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 circles. We're going to use the left click to accept the pattern. Looks good. So we can actually accept our sketch at this point. And we will do another extrusion. This time, again, it's a remove because we're going to be making the holes for the little screw tips. We want the depth to be 0.75. And we are going to make a draft of 2 degrees again. Kind of like the larger hole that we just made. Let's go ahead and select each of these small circles. And as we do that, I'm also going to change the direction of the draft. And you can kind of see once again at the bottom of the hole, there's a smaller circle because we are tapering inward as we go down and as the holes get lower. Okay, looks like we are in good shape here. We're going to accept our extrusion. Let's look at it from the isometric viewpoint. Things are looking good. Next, we are going to find a tool called the shell tool. This lets you hollow out your model. So in this, and you can kind of make things a uniform wall thickness. So we're going to use the shell tool. It's asking us what face do we want to remove. We're going to start removing things from the bottom. So I'm going to click on the face here, the face of extrude 3, and you can already see how it looks when things get hollowed out. We are going to make our shell thickness 0.05. 0.05 inches. And I think we're in good shape here. Let's take a look. You should be able to see the bottoms of your holes. Things on the top look pretty much the same. It's just that we are more hollowed out on the bottom, and we have a uniform thickness for all of the sides and the frames of the holes. All right, the final step is going to be adding your name, of course. Let's do this on the top of the figure. We'll start a new sketch over here on the face of extrude 3. We are going to use our text tool. There is not a lot of room here for writing, is there? So I'm going to suggest initials today. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put in Catherine Hallisy Ayala, my initials, and I'm going to make the size nice and small so I don't overlap with the holes. This says 0.34. I'm going to make it about 2/3 of that size, 0.2. That's fine. All right, I'm going to actually just accept and do one last extrusion, clicking on my initials, and I'll make it a remove. That is not very deep, something like 0.03 perhaps. So it's less than our shell thickness. And yeah, it's in there. So it looks like we are in good shape. This is the screw tip base. and I hope that you are doing well with the project. Good luck.